What's up, folks? This is War Commander Unshackled, and this is the real report card. Before I introduce everybody this afternoon, this is a reply to Wrong Thinkers Part 1 of the State of the Game. And since he decided to grade himself, which I have read the post, it's a very I don't know, I can't think of the word off the top of my head, but it's a very in the middle kind of grading. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to go across the panel after I've read the State of the Game post to everybody here, and we're going to grade him one at a time and get an average grade at the end. Now it could either be higher or lower than what he already has as his overall grade. Afternoon on the panel currently, it's a small one, and we have Dobber Phoenix, we have the wonderful Skipjack, we have TJ, and myself, the immortal Dr. Phil. So we'll start off with the usual. I got to get the Kickside forums up. It helps if I had done it beforehand, but I did not. So the State of the Game is going to end up being in 3 parts, because apparently there's a lot to cover in all this shit. So he's going to break it up into 3 parts. But the first part is the report card. So intrinsically, I think this is usually backwards. Usually you do a breakdown, the future stuff, and then you do a report card at the end of it. But hey, what can you do? Well, so we'll do the report card first. And I'll go through it section by section, and I will have people grade themselves. And then I will give my grade at the end of it, and then I will do the maths towards the end, and we'll give it an overall grading. So, as you see here, Commanders, it's been so long since our last State of the Game post, something that he's truly sorry for, and we've got too much time, or far too much to cover in a single post, and he's going to break it up into 3 parts. Part 1 is the report card, the introduction to the larger State of the Game, and the own personal evaluation on how we've done since the last State of the Game. He'll discuss each of the promises and whether or not we feel we succeeded or failed on each. Part 2 will be the technical breakdown, the in-depth look on the approach to addressing stability, performance, and cheating in the game. The post covers both past and our plans for coming improvements in these areas. Part 3 is the future, the most traditional of the State of the Game posts, which details some of the larger features and initiatives going forward. For now, the first post in the State of the Game is the report card. We're going to evaluate ourselves in categories based on what we promised in our previous State of the Game post. Here's our honest feelings about how we did on all that we promised. Closing the divide. He talked about closing the divide not to prevent people from getting ahead, but prevent others from being left so far in the dust they couldn't even play the game. While he thinks that they can do more on this front, they have delivered several things on the front. They gave you the thorium mine, they reduced building upgrade times for older buildings significantly, and introduced a new bar of power for all of you. Faction units. All of these things help lower levels not be so far behind they can't even participate in most of the game. While there is real progress there, this is a huge task, and they aren't going to act like we haven't crossed the finish line. First off, the building time reduction came in later than expected, which left many of you waiting for a promised feature longer than you should have been. Also, some of you can't even afford the thorium-based faction units, which is actually getting to be more a serious issue as these units increase in importance. Finally, the tech center still provides a massive bottleneck for commanders of all levels, but this is a pain especially felt by Lois. Overall,
can you make that a little bit bigger?
You want me to make that bigger? I can try.
Yeah, they're saying they can't see it out on YouTube.
Well, open your frickin' ears. Overall, he thinks there is more good than not on the front, and they've made the initial progress that they wanted to, but the job is not certainly done. They do have plenty of road left to travel if they want to ensure fair competition without undermining the effort of the veteran commanders. He gave that a B. Well, oh dear. Gobber, if you wouldn't mind giving that a grade. And explain why.
So something when I first read this, I was looking for an explanation like how we get so many units and the higher levels get them, the lower levels don't, just gets the divide bigger. So I was looking for something like explaining this and how they were going to make it better. I found it interesting. He says, we've given you the thorium mine, and then he says it's helping lower levels that are so far behind. And I don't really, aside from the new faction units, I really don't think that they've done too much yet to help the lower levels. They did the faction units and lower the build times. So I would what's A through F. I don't like B. So yeah, I'd say like a B minus C plus, because there's still a lot more that could be done. I mean, even higher levels are still. You have your extreme high levels and then your medium high levels, the high levels that just play occasionally because of the so many units being pumped out. So I'm gonna give this one a B minus or C plus on that one.
Okay. James. I don't know your game name, so unfortunately you'll be James for this afternoon. Have you got a grade and explain why?
This B, because it's for low levels, not doing good, and we can get the up with them. And doing more things, so like it.
Alrighty. So we got a B there as well. TJ.
I'll give it a D, solely from the perspective of the newer players. It's because when they kind of screwed the newer players when they removed the level lock on the PvP. Because not only do you have to upgrade your stuff, but you also have to thwart off level 45s that is hitting your level 20 base. And for that, I don't really think. I think they try to appease the higher levels and the lower levels. So I'm gonna give it a D.
Alrighty. So we got a B, or well, we'll call it a B, and a D. And mine particularly is for the fact of it, for a very long time between all of the State of the Game posts from other previous developers of War Commander to Wrong Thinkers, State of the Games of War Commander, and Wrong Thinker, along with very few kick-size staff that have been there previously and that are still there to this day, have the respect from me. Wrong Thinker, a Vega developer, I don't think works there anymore, by the name of Cade, Lex, and Carter. And way back, before he came back to Rogue Assault, Swag. And that's a grand total of 5 out of every employee that I've spoken to at Kick-Size, CMs, developers, and everything else. And out of all the innuendos and half-truths and bald-faced lies that have been told by previous and current Kick-Size staff, that goes so far as to continue to make me not trust this company within an inch of its life, along with its upper management, and then on top of that with Will the dipshit Harvey. I have absolutely no respect for a moron who tries to continually draw blood from a stone from its community, constantly, because that's exactly what is going on with Kickside. I don't support them. I am simply here to put the opinion across and make people see the light. And with this grade in closing the divide, when they did, I'll grant them, reduce the upgrade times for the buildings by almost a year. which makes me question just how long it would take to maximize your base from day one. And to be honest, I don't know the answer, nor do I want to know the answer. There are guys
About
that
3
have been
years.
playing since day one for over 5 years that still don't have a max base. You'd think it would be 3 years, but it isn't. It's a damn sight fucking longer than that. And not only do you get your 1 year of reduction in building upgrades, did you add a whole bunch of extra shit on top of that when you release the extra level of the CM, the defense lab all the way to level 20, and a whole bunch of other shit all the way up to the top? So yes, you reduced the building upgrade times, but you added back onto it. And that is a diminishing return. It's never going to be lower. It's never going to be, oh, great, we got low building times. Yeah, but you just got a whole bunch more to do afterwards. So while he does say it helps the lower levels try and participate, yes, that's a good point. On the other hand, by the time you get to the midsection of the game, you are going to be beaten the fuck out of by every other player that is possible, thanks to the removal of the PvP gate. You are going to have your units outmatched by everybody else that can spend a whole bunch of money or has invested a significant amount of time in doing that particular unit over something else. It's still crazy, crazy times in War Commander. And the addition of the thorium mine is nothing shy of an absolute joke. If you want to go hit thorium, 98% of the players have an elite Titan. Go run it over a level 40. Jobs are good. You don't need to sit. It might take you a damn sight longer to grind the thorium that you need, but at the end of the day, it's quicker than sitting there for 24 fucking hours waiting for this stupid mine to draw thorium from nowhere. It makes no sense, and the mechanics of it are absolutely ridiculous, because all the players in the game at this moment in time don't bother upgrading the thorium mine for the simple reason of there's far more things that are more important to get done. Defense lab, tech center, barracks, war factory, the armories, and every other building in this unit in the game, except for the resource producers, are worth far more than upgrading the fucking thorium. The tech center bottleneck. The tech center bottleneck is always going to be my biggest bar, and it's always going to be something that I will bring up on every possible occasion. This grade currently is a D-. It's not a fail because there are a few positive points, but you are so close to a failure on that. It is unfucking believable.
What's happening, guys?
So I give it a D-. And since you're here, Shadow, the closing the divide section of Wrong Thinkers post, if you have a grade for it, I would quite enjoy hearing it.
All right, give me 1 second. All right. Where are we at?
Yeah, it's 30 days for the thorium mine.
The thorium mine is fucking worthless. You get almost no thorium. Upgrade times for older buildings. Oh my god. All right, the faction units. I dig the faction units.
Well, we're just doing the closing the divide right now.
All right, hold on. Yeah, I'm closing it.
It's like we're doing it bit by bit, piece by piece. So
far, we got a B- from Dobber, a B from James, a D from TJ, and a D- from myself.
I'm gonna give it a C. I'm gonna give it a C just because of they did reduce some of the building reduction times. He is right. I mean, the bottle tech. Be honest, the tech center bottleneck is the biggest problem that we have in game right now, and it's Hell, yeah, I C minus for just because of that one sheer thing. I mean, there is no closing the divide right now. None. There's no closing the divide. He gave us a thorium mine. Really, he really put that in there.
Yeah.
I can't believe people. Mine, I think, is like level 1
Same.
because I mean, I could go hit a 60. It's a. Oh.
You can go to 65. There's 15 million in 5 minutes.
Yeah, and if you're a medium level, you can hit a 40 or a 50 and get no damage. I mean, a thorium mine, especially for those who don't have their base expanded, and they did. Oh man, they did build it. They just created, they just took up a bunch of space for a building that you're not going to use at all. I forget I even had the fucking thing.
Exactly.
The only positive out of this whole thing is him mentioning the faction units, and in all reality, only liberators and alkalites, the low levels, can get because they can't build the big heavy tanks.
And that's
He
so.
does go into that.
By my calculations on this section alone, we're looking at a C minus grade.
Easy.
So I'll move on to the faction units. Faction units brought with them things you may now be used to that were unthinkable at the time we introduced them. Faction units are built instantly at the cost of thorium, making most prolonged build times a thing of the past. And their upgrade times are quite reasonable. Faction heroes don't need to be upgraded at all. Faction tech for your workshop doesn't need to be upgraded either, starting at its highest power level as soon as you earn it. With the exception of some units, with the exception of some of you having difficulty purchasing some of the units mentioned in the previous section, because of the amount of thorium it costs, everything about factions, faction units, faction tech has gone down really well. I find it hard to imagine a world without the advantages that the units and the tech brought with them. Remember when every unit had massive build times. It wasn't that long ago that this was true for all units in the game. In addition to all of the improvements, our factions have given us more cohesive narrative in the game. Each event now provides a new character-driven episode in the saga of the Walker Map. Sorry, I can't read that without laughing. For those of you who don't care, it doesn't get in the way. For those of you that do care, it's another reason to look forward to the monthly event. And he graded that an A. Oh boy. So Dubbo, we'll start with you again. Would you give me a grade and explain why?
So the whole idea with the faction stuff, I really like it because they are instant builds. Yes, they cost thorium, but it beats the old thing where it takes 3. Like right now, I got expert Tempest. It's going to take 3 days to build, so I'm down 3 days while I build that. So that's where I think they went good with Liberators and Acolytes. They give you a lot of opportunities to get those, and even if you just have those, they can make a low-level base pretty good. When I PvP, back when they first came out, I would avoid bases that just had full Liberators. So like a level 35, I would avoid that if it had full Liberators. So that being said, I like the fact with the So with these, they also gave tech that you didn't have to upgrade, and you once you got the tech, that was it, and you could instantly put it on. Now the thing he's got an A on me. Ooh. What I didn't like with the tech is you had to grind to get it. Initially, it was Shadow Ups. Then they came out with the boss bases. The tech was in the boss bases. Then there was the invasion, and then now they've got it in the event. I like the idea of being able to buy it in the event. I like the idea of being able to get it in the invasion. But I'm not a big fan, and I don't think even for the medium and low level players that the faction specific bases are a viable way to get this kind of tech. Because if you grind, I was doing the purifier bases. I'll use them as an example. They were supposed to give out silver and gold tech, to my knowledge. I had about 15, 20 of them got all silver tech. I know some people, they got all gold tech. And so the only reason we hit those bases is we want the tech. It's not so much that we have fun hitting them. I mean, they were a little bit of a challenge, but we want our tech. And if we've got 15, 20 purifiers, we don't want 300 of silver tech and then 4 gold tech. And so that makes it a little bit challenging for that. So initially, yeah, I think the execution of dropping out the tech with just the faction specific bases are bad, but I think they're getting a lot better putting it in invasion, and I'm seeing it now in onslaught as well. And so I'm gonna have to lower the bar, lower that grade from an A. This one I'll be generous and give it a. Let me make sure I hit everything in here. Yeah. Oh yeah, and then the faction storyline. It's an interesting storyline, and I will give you guys major props. Thank you for when you hit an attack, the storyline ends. So this way, those who don't care about it can just attack, and those who do, that do care about it, can sit there and read it. Because I used to hate attacking away at face, and it would, the storyline would get in the way. So I will, with all that, I will rate it a B, because this one's a solid B, because this one, so far, this is like the best step they've taken in attempting to help the lower levels gain some decent units, and you don't have to grind for old tech like the gold tech for SF and all that. That was even harder to get than some of the faction stuff now. So getting better, but you're not quite there yet.
Alrighty, James. Give it a grade, and can you explain why?
Can you just give me for about 2 or 3 seconds?
Go ahead.
I'll give my fucking grade.
Go for it.
I gotta give. I have to give it a B plus, a high B plus, because this is, out of everything that he wrote here, the faction units are the best things that come out to the game so far. And I'm saying with the Liberators and
come on, you're not even hitting me.
All those. Sorry, my wife is playing League of Legends, so you're gonna have to bear with me. And you thought our game's a rage game. Trust me, it doesn't even compare to that game. But I have to give it a high B. I mean, I like them. I think I gotta agree. I think it's the best thing to come out for the game. I didn't like special forces. I hated how you had to, use them, destroy them, to level them up. I love the tech. And Daba's right. The biggest problem with the tech is that getting the right amount of tech for each unit is a motherfucker to do. They need to have a bronze base, a silver base, and a gold base. Now, yes, I know that adds more shit to the map, but that's the only way I could possibly see on how it would be leveled out, is to have a base for each. Maybe do it on a Sunday, once a week. You get, 3 little bases, and then you get that boss base.
Oh, I need to build armor?
And, 3 bases for Liberator, 3 bases for all those tech that we get, because their lottery system's broken. All right, let's face it. I mean, that shit is ridiculous. I think I got like 43 gold tech for Furies. I only have 10 Furies.
Yep.
Okay. I mean,
don't forget about the 3 in the onslaught now.
Yeah, I mean, and now we have onslaught. What we need to have is some kind of setup to where we could get an equal amount for what we need. Say you have, like I said, 10 Furies, just need 10 tech, you hit 10 bases, bam.
God damn it.
And you get that specific tech. This is bullshit. Their lottery system for this sucks balls. I give it a B. I give it a B plus, guys.
I can't fight you.
A B plus. So we got a B from Dubber. James can't figure out how to grade it. I got a B plus from Shadow. TJ, can you grade it for me and explain why?
I think I'd give it a B, a solid B. I liked the Liberators much better than the old Special Forces because you can each individually control them instead of the Special Forces where everybody's just one choo-choo train. What I really don't like is especially the tech for it. It's you get more units than you do have tech, and not every unit has the same tech. And with that, I'll give it a solid B.
Alrighty. So with everything said in mind, faction units, it just reminds me of so many other things that have been done in the past. They split it up into different whole sections in Battle Pirates. They made shit faction only in Vega. And it's all, in my view, it's all designed to make you play the game the way Kixeye wants you to play it, rather than the way we actually play it. I mean, there's a lot of ingenuity in the game itself from a lot of members of the community. Guys like Kagral and Gabby and Sairam and City, who do amazing shit with what they have. I mean, hell, Kagral specifically doing, I don't know which base he was doing, but threw an M4GX on his Jericho with the arc loader. And that worked amazingly well against Liberators because of the range it had, and the grenade caused the concussion because it was combined with the arc loader. And it was absolutely brilliant. And it was absolutely amazing. But with faction-specific stuff, you take away the uniqueness of a player. And you force people down the same track. Now, not everybody plays the game in the same way. Everybody uses their units differently. Bearing in mind the setups now with the faction-specific tech are forcing people down the same line. One is offensive and one is defensive. That's how those techs are, from the way I see it. The cost of thorium, well, I really think that's irrelevant. If Kixeye will put the prices at whatever Kixeye deem is necessary for it to be at, whether we agree with it or not. Some of the lower stuff I can agree with being 20, 30 million, but anything higher than that, unless it's heroic, is extortionate. You've got 40 mil for a hammer tank. You've got 50 mil for a purifier. It's 70 bloody mil for the hero units. And it's diabolical. If Kixeye was a comic villain, that would be it. It would be the guy behind the desk with covered in dark shadows, cackling like a fucking maniac. Because it's absolutely diabolical the way Kixeye think we should play. And it all goes back to one statement made last year by the executive of I can't remember, the executive director of Vega Conflict, or whatever the hell fucking his name was at the time. It was some bullshit like that, and he stated categorically, if you're doing things and not taking damage, you're breaking the game. That threw the community up in fucking arms. And that faction bullshit that you see in front of you right there is that statement rolled up and then spread out just to divert you from the subject matter at hand. Faction units, yes, while they are an improvement, they are diabolical when it comes to the actual nature of the game. So, again, I am going to give it a grade, and my grade is a D. And that's why.
All right. Boy, we some harsh motherfuckers, ain't we?
Oh, you guys are a lot better than I am. A lot more better-minded than I am.
Well, Phil's getting better. He went from a D- to a D.
Stability and performance is the
Oh,
next
here we
subject.
go. This is where the epic fail comes in.
We've made a ton of back-end improvements to the stability of the game, which is starting to lead to more tangible improvements for all of you. You'll be reading more about this momentarily. While these improvements have done a great deal to help stability, especially in the past month, we have tangibly reduced crashes, battle dropouts, and many bugs. Perhaps most importantly, these improvements have laid out a great deal of groundwork for our next set of efforts. Unfortunately, despite our immense efforts and progress, a good amount of what we've accomplished is behind the scenes. It's like you guys are stuck in a prison of bad performance, and we've been gradually digging a tunnel. Oh my God, I can't even read that.
I was dying when I read this part. Especially thinking of Wave 110, which was a prison, and you were trying to break your buddy up.
You just sit there hoping we're getting close to your cell, or on the outside gradually getting closer. We know performance issues are still very, very real pain many of you feel on a regular basis. Because our efforts have not yet broken through, we must lower our grade. Though we are very optimistic by our next state of the game, we'll have earned a better grade. And he grades it as C.
Okay, I got to, because I
Go on.
F, fucking F, 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 a full blown fucking negative F times 1,000. I mean, I can fucking prove it right now as we talk if I need to. All right, crashes, last event, every other fucking time it popped up, you got flash crash. Okay, battle dropouts. Who the fuck fights with the new units out there now? Really? I mean, what bugs? What bugs did they fix? We could go back to the last post that Salako put up, and none of it has anything to do with the bugs and crashes. He is full of shit. Behind the scenes, fuck, what was it? The last event where the servers went down? Or Onslaught, Onslaught or something like that? Hell, matter of fact, I can prove it right fucking now. That he's full of shit, and this is why he gets an F. Hold on, share. Bam. All right. I'm not done with Onslaught yet, okay, guys? I redesigned my base. It's not set for Onslaught, so I expect to epically fail and get my ass kicked. All right, because I don't need any no more tech for the Furies, all right? Now, he said that the game performance is awesome. He said that. Loading.
Paintball Wonder in YouTube says it must be your computer.
Yeah, I know. Hold on.
And it's your internet.
I'll show that in a second too. Hold on. All right. Well.
Okay.
Hold on. Yeah, we're waiting. I mean,
I got him.
All right. We'll click just one. All right. Oh, there we go. Finally, I get to move. All right.
I was gonna say now it's actually gonna be
By the
nice.
way, it's 30 seconds into the game so far. Now look, I'm moving shit around. As you guys can see, I'm clicking for my howler to move.
He's
Really?
got the howler by the go-go bars selected, and it's not moving.
Not
He'll be
going
there
anywhere.
next week.
All right, I'm going to now I'm going to reset the wave. It's too late. My base is already fucked. All right. I click reset.
Let it happen.
Yep, it's too late.
Look how long it took to reset.
All right, now they say that it's my computer and all right. Well, I did this yesterday or the other day. Hold on, I gotta wait for, their awesome performance to work. Give me a second here.
Did you get another computer again?
Fuck no, I love my baby. I ain't trading her in. All right.
And take notice, it's considerable loading time right here.
Yep.
And then,
This is all supposedly his performance. and I only have one. And I've stashed almost all of my trophies. I only got a couple out, and that's because I was testing something. I'm still waiting so I can minimize.
I'm
All
trying
right.
to push towers.
Now he was talking about performance, right? Well,
Mm-hmm.
No, hit me once and I'm dead. No, it shouldn't.
that's my internet speed,
Oh man.
and this is what I
It's
sent
just-
to Kickside.
It's just showing your base.
Oh, all right, hold on. Google Hangouts. It should be showing it.
Not a sausage.
All right, hold on. Oh, there we go. Hopefully this will. Is it showing now?
Yeah, you're good now.
All right. Your internet speed is very fast. Your internet connection should be able to handle multiple devices, streaming HD videos, video conferencing, and gaming at the same time.
It's just showing your folder with pictures in it.
Yeah.
Well, all right. I don't know why it's not coming
Just
up.
double click one of them. Or did,
This is my ping. My,
Yeah, it's because of Windows 10 and its stupid picture viewer. It doesn't fucking work properly.
Well, let me just
No.
say that my trace route is great. All right. My trace route is great. My internet speed with it. This is what I sent to Kickside. Your internet speed is very fast. Your internet connection should be able to handle multiple devices, streaming HD videos.
Yeah. It's not exactly great, but Skip wanted to pipe in, so I will hand it over to her.
I'm sorry, guys. I won't speak to the other things you guys were greeting, and I was listening. I'm sorry about not being able to speak live, like point by point, because Jim and I were having lunch, and we have a limited amount of time because they have no doctor's appointment this morning. But I just want to throw a little bit. I will give them on this one. I'm going to say C, and maybe a C minus. And here's the reason why is because. All right. Well, I'm not even going to talk about gaming. I'm just going to talk about things in general. And I'm going to try to say this the best as I possibly can. Keep running your trace routes. But, and Dr. Phil can answer or confirm this or not. There's a lot of things that are going on in the world that are going to affect all of us. So if.
All right, there. Sorry, guys. My headphones were dying.
Oh.
my batteries died on. But what it said, I mean, I don't know if you guys heard what it said, what I said about my internet connection.
I heard.
It was great.
Yeah, I mean, it's excellent. So that stability performance is bullshit. I just showed Onslaught.
Yeah, but you know that if you even if you have a great internet performance, they will blame it on your computer.
All right. Before we get down to the Kickside blaming computers and all that shit, there are some serious problems going on in the world right now. I have been out several times in the last month to look and restart mainframes. And usually that's all it will take is to just restart it, clear everything out, and start afresh. But since Amazon servers went down, that caused a catastrophic backflow of problems, and it was cataclysmic. It started with one breakdown and a corrupt file structure, and that's all it took, and it continued to degrade over the course of a week, and then it got into 2 weeks, and then it was just cataclysmic failure all around that affected almost 60% of the internet as you know it. And by the internet as you know it, I mean the parts of the internet that are indexed.
But I've had no problems on a lot of other platforms. Kickside, I want you to know, Phil. My wife right now is playing League of Legends with my son live. You know, they're streaming it. They're not having no disconnects, no flash problems, no lag. They are running smooth as a baby's ass.
On the same network that you're on right now?
Exact same network I am.
I'm sorry. Let me interrupt. You're going to hate me for saying this.
I know what you're going to say. I already know it.
You're on a show. They're playing a game, and then you're doing Kickside. I'm not going to kiss Kicksai's ass on this one. I would give this like a C-. Okay, I want to give them a C+ because I know some of the stuff they're doing on the back end, but I would give them a C- on this. But you have to understand, different games run on different platforms. Streaming, there's still a buffering involved. It still has to come into a place to be buffered. Then it has to go to another place to be transmitted. And then sometimes it has to be buffered there. And then it has to come into wherever it is. No, I want to explain this to the other people.
You were going to say this, though.
I want to explain to the other people who are listening because you do have a good connection. This isn't directed at you. I want people to understand because this is like a huge thing in forums, and I can't replace customer support, and customer support isn't there to replace that, and they cannot build a game for every computer, every internet, every country in the entire world. Part of some of the stuff that they're doing on the back end, which we talked about months ago, is decreasing frame rates, which we call sprites, okay? Decreasing frame rates. One of the big things I think that is a huge issue, because I keep seeing it happening, are the moving trophies. I don't want you guys to have to stash your trophies. I think that that's the easy way out of it. I don't want you to have to turn off all your graphics, because for some of you, your graphics and your sound is how you play the game. I get that, because that's how I played both Vega and Battle Pirates. Based on the sound that I heard, I knew, could tick it off in my head the seconds of what I had to do next. I can't even do that, War Commander. And I've got the best kind of shit you could possibly have. So like you, Shadow, I have a high-end stuff. When it's not working, then I know there's an issue in Kicksai's end. So we do the best we can to provide as much information as we can, but everybody needs to understand that first of all, speed test is the first place to start. Okay, if your speed test sucks, it doesn't do any good for me to go over with you about the specs of your computer, the specs of your game card, the specs of your graphics card, and your trace route. If your speed test sucks, we just stop there. Okay, that's the end of that, and then we have to work on that. If that's fine, we move on to the next step. But this game still has some old aspects to it that still have not been taken out. They're working on the frame rate, so it should be better. And I think part of the problem is with these newer units, again, when Kicksai is testing it, which I'll throw it out there, is a reason why we need to bring back trusted testers. I don't care if it's 5 or 10 people, mods and Kicksai people. This stuff needs to be tested all over the world in different time zones at different times of the day, and not just at Kicksai. So I'm not fussing at you. I'm saying it can't just be tested from Kicksai. That's not fair to the rest of us, because the stability and performance that they see is not going to be anything. I have friends that have driven by the Kicksai headquarters, okay? And they play Kicksai games. And their fucking lag sucks. Okay, so they're right there. And they're techie geeks like me, so they have high-end computers, they have high-end connections, they pay for super megabit speeds from their internet, and yet they're right around the corner. They're less than 20 minutes away from the Kicksai headquarters. So if it's all server side, they should at least be able to get into the San Francisco servers. If they're back to using server farms, okay, fine. California is a big state. It's a very wealthy state. There are server farms everywhere all over the world. Yes, I agree with you. There's some stuff that they need to be fixed. But we have to remember that as far as the bug fixes go, I think the bug fixes are little. I think they're trying to work on those frame rate speeds. But I honestly really have to stress that between those moving trophies and the moving roaming units with some of those trophies in the targets, I honestly think that that's where a lot of the lag is coming from.
It's and also your friends list.
It is on. So to me, I'm saying it is on Kicksai's end, because the more trophies you guys have gotten, the more cool these trophies are, and the more. And it's not even that. If you decide to do something in your tech center, and you know the excited thing that I mentioned earlier. So if you decide to do a thing in your tech center, let's just say you decide to do 2 things in your tech center. Let's say you decide to upgrade a building. Let's say you decide to build something in your war factory, and I don't know, you decide to, do something else. you got all those other tabs going. You've got floaty trophies, you got flames shooting out, you've got stuff spinning around, you got condoms and cocks everywhere, mass hysteria. It just creates more lag. And you're not the only person to mention the reset the wave. Now, this was the first time I ever had a problem with reset the wave, and so that didn't make me happy either. So one of the reasons why I wanted to bring it up that way in that respect is not to fuss at you, is that you do have one of the best ones. You do have a lot of people sometimes doing things in the background. If you have music going, somebody else has music going. So if you don't have the top of the line like Shadow has, you don't have the top of the line like Lenser has or I have or whatever, you don't have this top end. You're playing from a laptop and your Wi-Fi, you're not hardwired, and your laptop's more than 2 years old, and you don't have a good graphics card, and you don't have at least 8 gigs on your laptop, you're fucked, dude. You're not going to make it all the way through the event. You're definitely not going to make it all the way through Onslaught. And the more, it shouldn't be the more trophies that you add and the more things you decide to do in your base, upgrading and building and such, that should not add. No one should ever say to you, and I'm not going to be exactly specific, but it has happened from customer support. No one should say to you, you have a lot going on in your base. If you turned off some of your graphics and stashed your trophies, you'd have better performance. I'm sorry, that's not acceptable to me. So that's why I would say a C-. I'm glad Dr. Phil backed me up on what's going on in the world. I'm just going to let everybody know flat out, without violating my security clearance, this part of the things that aren't KIXEYE related is going to continue for many, many months to come, even to the point of you actually losing your internet connection, or without you even knowing it, your own government in your own country is on purpose dialing back your speed because there is a viable worldwide internet threat. You won't even know it's happening because by law, they go to your ISP and they say, we need you to dial this back because we have to find these people. So it's going to keep happening. It's been happening for years. It's just going to get worse. The best way to find that out is check your speeds daily if you have to. If it drops out all of a sudden, if it's not a constant thing, check your speed, run a trace route. If it's none of those kind of things, pick up the phone and call your ISP. Are you having an issue? Look and see, what is it that you're paying for and are you getting it with your speed test? Because if you're not, it's because your government just went to your ISP and said there's a viable worldwide threat right now, dial everybody back. It happens every single day and you don't even know about it. So if it happens unexpectedly, start with a speed test, then go to a trace route. If you don't know how to run them, please PM me and ask me. PM Dr. Phil, ask him. PM Shadow, David, PM somebody that you know that knows how to do it, and we'll show you how to do it. We'll explain what it means.
I will
Once
say this
you-
for the record, if you do PM me for information like that, there is a service charge. I'm not
Yes, I
kidding.
was going to say, there is. I mean, now I didn't want to point my fingers at Shadow, but I just wanted to say for other people, that was a good example because there are people that I know that their kids go off and they do things wirelessly. And then I deliberately run Pandora on Firefox on a separate browser so it doesn't interfere with Chrome if I'm using Chrome for the game. I use Facebook Gaming. I like it better. I think it's faster. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass flipping back and forth between my tabs. I try not to have a lot of things open, but yeah, sometimes your computer is going to get blamed, but I'm telling you flat out, if you're on a laptop and you're running Wi-Fi, especially if you're in public, oh my God, if you're public, you're crazy to even be in War Commander because your account's going to get stolen. But if you're Wi-Fi, hardwire yourself up. Go to Best Buy, go to Big Lots, go to Walmart, go to some place and buy a 50-foot, 75-foot, or 100-foot cable. And when you get that extreme lag, hardwire, and that will help you. If you have a laptop that's more than 2 years old, or you bought a laptop and you didn't know it, whether it was a gaming laptop or it was meant for some secretary that was going to email and surf Pinterest all day, and look up recipes or whatever bullshit, your laptop isn't fast enough. Get with somebody that understands the specs, like Shadow has showed live on the show, and we'll tell you whether or not your laptop's shit or not. And we'll help you add stuff to it. If your laptop is great, If everything else is great and you're having problems and nobody else is, then we need to find out what that is for you. If everybody's having the same problem, which is what's starting to happen again, then we need to find out with Kixeye what they need to do to fix it. And I'm telling you, to me, the root of the bigger problem is those moving units in the targets, with some of the trophies have now all of a sudden started showing up in the targets, and our trophies and our bases that are the moving trophies. You shouldn't have to stash something if you earned it. You shouldn't have to stash something in order to play the game. That doesn't make any sense to me. I think it's a C- on that one. But I did want everybody to understand that if you want to make a little bit of something, if you're in the middle of the event, you have to go back to work on Sunday afternoon, and you can't do the event Monday or Tuesday or whatever. If you have to end, and you got your wife doing something in the kitchen on one thing, and you've got somebody streaming something on another, and got music on another, shut somebody off for a few minutes so you can finish your event and see if that makes a difference. If it doesn't, then shoot one of the moderators a PM, post something in the chat, grab one of us from the panel, and ask one of us, because if we're not having problems, then at least we can backtrack and find out what's going on your end. If you're in a country other than the United States, but the United States is doing it too. The UK just did it 6 weeks ago. Everybody in the UK, because there was a credible terrorist threat, everybody in the UK had their bandwidth cut almost in half. You guys didn't even know it. So that is the kind of stuff that happens. It has happened in France recently. It will happen again. When they want to catch those guys that are trying to blow up massive amounts of people, you know what? This game doesn't mean shit to me if it means it's going to save lives, because they have to cut everybody's bandwidth in half because they're trying to find somebody in a country that there's a credible threat. So pick up the newspaper if you haven't picked it up recently. Google it if you want to. Look at the news once in a while. I know it's depressing, but it's real life, people. It's what it is. And this game is not worth hundreds of thousands of lives because somebody wants to blow up a train or subway system.
And don't pick up anything with a Fox logo on it.
Or a parade or whatever, like what happened at the Boston Marathon. If they decide to, even in the middle of the United States, shut down an entire bank of web servers that transfer traffic so that they can catch somebody, then that's what they have to do. That happened last year. No one knows about it. If you Google it, you can find the information about it. But literally, they found a terror cell in the United States, and the way that they found them was literally shutting down the places, the hops and skips, by shutting down part of the entire Midwest so that it did not continue. And that's how they found them, and they were able to thwart the attack. So this is what other people deal with every day on a real life basis. It will affect your game. And you have to be prepared for that, but that's a sudden thing. These regular things that we keep seeing in Kixeye, some of you, it is your computer. I've gotten some people in TeamViewer. I've gotten some people in Google Plus Hangouts, and I couldn't believe there were people running with laptops that were like 7 years old, 8 years old, and they barely had 4 gigs, if that. And they were like at their max, and their processor was running at 98% when they didn't even have the game on. You're not going to be able to play War Commander. Sorry.
Running Vista and XP. I've seen that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, don't you be bad-mouthing XP. XP is a machine.
XP's good.
XP's good. The other thing I wanted to throw in there was I say three, but the 2 more major ones was a Firefox again, but this time it wasn't, Adobe. This time it wasn't Adobe. Chrome had an update, and they foobarred their update. So they updated, but when they realized they foobarred their update, right after that, Adobe Flash had an update, and that update was correct. Okay, so Firefox jumped on it right away. So, of course, Mozilla is owned by Firefox. And I know you probably never, ever hear me say that. But when everybody else couldn't play, nobody could get in, people were stuck at 99% or 81%, 55%. Believe it or not, I never thought I would ever say that. I could actually play and play well on Firefox and Mozilla. You know why? Because they didn't foobar their update, and they had done one too. And as soon as Adobe released the Flash update, they immediately changed the Flash player. They immediately told everybody to do it. My game actually ran. So sometimes the stuff that happens is because the industry screws up. They tend to like to do that shit on a Friday or a Saturday. And Kickstarter's like every other company in the world. They have to play catch up. If Chrome has an update, they have to make adjustments. If Firefox has an update, they have to make adjustments. If Adobe Flash puts out a new update, they have to make adjustments. And they can't just make it for one browser. They have to make it for everything. If they decide to do that on a weekend, we're screwed until the industry catches up. So pay attention to that. If you get a lot of those Flash bar crashes, you know, where it drops down, check and make sure that you don't have a Chrome update that's needed. Look and see. Grab one of us as a mod, somebody who's in the industry, Phil, David. We see that kind of stuff every day. And then we can help you tweak your computer in the meantime. But as far as a company, not just Kixeye, every internet company is screwed. Ads won't run. Banners won't pop up like they're supposed to. You know, banners will get stuck. Ads will get stuck. You know, then your Pandora doesn't play. Your other shit doesn't play. So
I hate to jump on you, honey. I'm limited on time, and I really want to get this shit finished.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to throw that out. This is the only one I wanted to comment on, only because of those things that happen. Bring up the world events, which you brought up. And then, of course, the industry things like Adobe, like Firefox, like Chrome. When they screw something up, it affects everybody. And then every company everywhere, not just game companies, have to play catch up. So I will give that grade a C-, because I think they can do more. And I don't think they should put the ownership on the players to have to stash trophies and turn off graphics. That's what makes War Commander cool, the stuff that you earned and the graphics and shit that you use. There we go, I'm done.
Okay, thank you for that, Skip. So we got an F+ from Shadow, a C- from Skip. Dubber, can I have your grade and give us try and keep it reasonably short?
All right, people of War Commander.
All right, don't be a dick, because I'll boot you.
And I know you will, so that's why I'm gonna straighten up.
Straighten your ass up, motherfucker.
Yes, sir, Dr. Phil, sir.
That's better.
All right, so
All right.
I about 6 months ago, I upgraded my router and whatnot, and then about 3 months ago, I finally installed it. And so I've tripled my internet speed, and I bought it specifically for War Commander because I figured I see all these people with high internet speeds, and I was on Wi-Fi and everything, and well, it does help. That being said, my War Commander performance is a little bit better, but during the events, it's about the same. Roughly the same amount of DCs. I still was getting lag past couple months. This event, however, for 99.99% of it, for the beginning of it, I didn't get any lag. Now, lag, I mean, I click a unit and it doesn't move like Shadow's Howler there. I did get even more disconnects though, like DCs and day one it did not lag, but like Monday or Tuesday it did lag. I got a lag a little bit in the airbase. That was it. But specifically for this event, yeah, I gotta go like a C- as well, because I mean not just this event, but just overall. When there's no events, when there's nothing special, you know, I can farm res and rogues and fight most times pretty good. But from the last state of the game to this one, when I'm in PvP doing events, it seems about the same. So I'm only giving it a C- and not lower because this event actually wasn't too bad. It's for me personally, I didn't, you know, lag was a lot better.
C- from Dubber. Not too bad, not too bad. DJ, can I have your grade on the stability and performance?
Well, I personally haven't had that much difficulty with the performance per se. The only thing it really bothers me is if you're on the world map and you get attacked, and sometimes you can't even join the attack. It will just either crash your Flash player, or it will just keep loading. And it's the same as the event. The event, it needs some work, but overall, I'll give it a B.
I'm back. What did I miss?
We're on TJ right now.
TJ's talking, but read the side chat too. But TJ's
Yeah.
doing.
By the way, Skip, what I sent you was me running my computer, two
No,
computers on league.
Read the side chat. Read the side chat.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I'll PM you.
What did he say, TJ? I missed what he said.
I'll give it a B.
A B. All right. Well, stability and performance for me, I have a very unique build. I have a very unique connection because of the work that I do, both at home and outside. When I played during the week, without events, without onslaught, without invasion, it ran smoothly, and I very rarely had any issues at all. During events, you experience that first 24 hours of hell, as it's known, of lag and instant defeats when you're doing defense waves. The same thing during onslaught. Everybody experiences it. You could have the highest NPC in the fucking world and spend $5,000 on it like I did, or you could have one of those shitty fucking laptops, spend $300 and still experience the same fucking problem. Now, what I will say is when I have gone to customer support, which is rare as fuck that I went to them in the first place, because usually I could fix the issue myself, unless it was on Kicksai's end. And every time I've gone to CS with trace routes and data reports and packet tracing and a whole lot of overly complicated algorithms that they usually say, well, we're sorry you had this problem, here's 75 gold, fuck off and leave us alone. That's the usual response I would get, but the simple fact of the matter is half of the guys at CS don't know what they're fucking talking about, don't know the ins and outs of what they're supposed to do as customer support, or are sat there at level 1 tech support. Which, quite frankly, for a game that is as complex as it is, and does what it does worldwide on a daily fucking basis, 24 hours a day, give or take the maintenance. Who's fucking crackling? Give or take the maintenance is staggering. And they should really have better support. So on that state, just because of the way it was, and he did crack a couple of jokes in there, I'm going to give it a D+. And that's the end of that chapter.
God, I think I'm the only one who gave an F.
So
I feel kind of
you are the only one who gave it an F.
I mean, Shadow Killer's biased.
Capone on YouTube posted he gave it an F because it has a bunch of. I gave it an F because all my problems in Kicksai F up, but he put the real word when I have lag and DC. That's
All right.
Okay. So you got 2 Fs, a D-. What did you give it, though? A C-, a C-, and a B. So that's an overall grade of a D+.
That trace route I was telling you guys about, and my internet connection, that was with running my War Commander, 2 computers on League of Legends, 2 computers streaming movies, and a PS4, all running at the same time. And I'm still running 68. I think it was like 68, 67 MBP download.
Right. I have to step in there, and because of the way things are going and everything going into your network and router, you will automatically be bottlenecked by your streamers. Now,
Yeah, but just imagine if they weren't online, and when I do Onslaught, especially like now, everybody's off. I wait till everybody's in bed because everybody works third shift, so I have all day long where nobody's online but me. I have all the internet connection speed I want.
yeah.
And you're in school. So literally nobody is online but me, and I still get that kind of lag. And only on War Commander. That
Yeah.
is it. That's why I give it an F, because no other game I play. Hell, you guys seen I run Civ 6 live, no lag at all. I could run just about any game out there. World of Warships. Remember when me, you, and David did that?
That was fun. We should do that
Hell
again.
yeah, no lag, none of us. And we were live streaming that shit. I had to run XSplit, which is a big fucking resource hog. And this bitch ran like a wet dream. I had no lag, no disconnect, nothing. It's only this game. That's why I give it an F.
Yeah. So the overall grade on that, the average, it does work out at a D plus on the stability and performance side. So we'll move to the alliance raids and PvP. We did improve the PvP formula, opened up the PvP field by removing level locks, but reduced the penalties when being attacked by higher level commanders, and increased the medals payout of regular PvP by an order of magnitude. But not all definitely was roses. It took us quite a while to get the new PvP formula right, and even though I still don't believe... Oh, no, wait. I still believe it was an improvement. It wasn't the gigantic improvement we were hoping for. In addition, our other rules didn't change. No, I've read that wrong. In addition, our other rules changes didn't have the overwhelmingly positive effect we were hoping for either. Ultimately, I think things are a little better now than they work. And the higher medal payouts are nice, but it caused a heck of a lot of disruption and didn't get us significant gains. Oh, and Alliance Raid, we didn't do squad on them, grade D+. Well, all right. I am simply going to agree with exactly what he said there. However, it's ridiculous. I am going to agree with what he said, and I'm going to agree with his grades, although they're not great. And there is a lot of improvements that need to be made and need to be made quite soon. So I'll start with Dobber. Give me a grade and give us the reasons why.
So the whole idea of alliance raids and PvP, I really like it because heck, it's the reason that I got into PvP because I like the medals. I like getting infamy, and so I think he did really good with that. The medal payouts seem to be pretty good because you get 150k if you're the top tier, and even then, let's assume you get top tier week 1 of the new reset. It's still going to take you a couple weeks if you just ride on that to get the 600k needed for the new unit. So this way, not everyone has it unless you really want to grind out the 90 bases. That being said, a lot of people get to the top tier, then they hide in bubbles or they hide with other strategies, and then infamy is not really a true classification of how much power you have. And so, but specifically with the raids are really good. I like the group I'm in called Raid, and we do the alliance boosts and the alliance raids, and we keep our supplies up, and it really does help with onslaught and invasion and event and that kind of stuff, having the turret boost and the economy and all that. It was kind of a bummer when they took off the economy for the thorium because of the epic thorium costs that we discussed earlier, but it's still very useful. 30% boost to all your resources is very nice, and it also encourages teamwork because why not? Now you do have some lone wolves out there, but it's more commanders about community and stuff. So bringing people together is good. All right, so now they said. Now, Alliance raids, yeah, they've been basically the same since all the bases really haven't been updated, which is nice. We're getting used to them, and we're able to do them a lot more efficiently now. So, I don't really, like, I mean, currently I like it. So I don't really know, like, was there an improvement or something that he's done?
Well, he quite categorically stated they haven't done squat with Alliance raids.
But yeah, and I want to mention this with the level lock. Bittersweet with that. Speaking for the lower and medium levels, we mentioned earlier, the higher levels just bully them for PvP points. They work so hard trying to get to bronze or gold 3, but when you jump into a sector, the first targets are the guys with 4,000 or 5,000 infamy that are level like 30. That being said, flipping it to the higher levels perspective, I love it because all the level 29 bubble talkers, they can't do that no more. Now they gotta do it from a level 2 account. But I mean, since there was no improvement, I'm gonna have to put a D, because while I love the idea, there was no improvement. So yeah.
Alrighty. Jono?
We had no
All right.
healer.
Hold on.
They have no
Excuse
healers
me.
apparently.
That's a D plus. That's a D minus for no healer.
Yeah, that's a D. Yeah. I don't like the level lock. I don't like the removal of the level lock. All you guys know that. I give this an F. I give it an F. Because everybody here knows I don't like unlocking the level lock. I missed the 4 up, 4 down. I don't like to where you can hit anybody you want. I've never liked it. Hell, on a rave run, I usually don't hit below a 35 because I feel bad. Unless they are 400, unless they got 4K in infamy, I don't touch them because I feel bad because they can't take on a 45. I don't like the level lock. I've never liked the level lock. The only positive out of all this was the medal payout. And it took them forever, and it's still not really right because Daba's right. If you have 3 guys jumping out of a sector, hitting a whole bunch, and then farming it to their buddy for them to get 7, 8, 9,000 infamy, that's not a true test on someone's base power. Infamy still means nothing except for medals. That's all. And raids, I don't even do the raid. I don't do it at all.
You're missing out, man.
I don't want. I'm sorry. I got enough shit I've got to hit right now. I don't have the time or the inclination to hit the bronze, the gold, the silver, or the diamond bases. I just don't. There's so much shit out there that I still got to do that I just don't. I don't have the. There's no real payoff for me because I can still do the events without all that. I can still fight without all of it. It makes no difference to me. To me, it's just another thing for us to hit.
Oh, it's skirmish. Go ahead.
Those bases and all, it's just something else for us to work on, or for you to lose something, or for them to get paid. It does nothing for me. The only thing, I'm sorry, I give it a D minus then because of medal payout. But other than that, I can't stand any of it. I think the removal of the level lock is horrible, fucking disgusting. And it's a complete opposite of what we, the players, asked for. We wanted 4 up, 4 down, all the way up to level 40, if I remember correctly.
That's what we wanted.
Yep. And instead, they totally turned that shit around and unlocked it for everybody. Fuck that. They can kiss my ass. Fuck it. I give them an F. There we go. I give them an F. Just because they did the ass opposite thing what we asked them to do.
DJ, what have you got for me, buddy?
Well, I can't speak for the raids, but for the PvP, I barely PvP unless it's with the fucking Unshackled. But I really dislike the removal of the level lock because what does like Daba said, everybody goes for the higher, basically the one with the 5,000 infamy, but they're usually level 40. So what do you gain by unlocking everything 30 level 30 and down? It shouldn't be because even at level 30 you're still upgrading. You're still not strong enough to defend yourself against a level 45 that just wants PvP because he doesn't want to hit tagged targets. So I'm gonna give it a D.
A D. A D.
Capone has a rating in the side chat here.
A B. That's a pretty high grade.
Yes. He says all the
Well,
alliance and PvP is a better way to teach low levels and help us use to rebuild the bases. So he gave it a B.
I'm
Can I
gonna
give
ask
it a triple D?
you a triple D.
Because that's what mine are. Yeah. Can I just jump in real fast?
Go for it.
All right.
Reasonably short.
All right, so that's why I'm gonna say the reason why I'm gonna say a triple D is because I agree 100 wholeheartedly, with the exception of one little thing about the level lock. Because of that issue, I see it, I hear about it, I get messages about it, I got PMs about it, I offer alternatives, I try to offer safe sectors for places to go. You guys know I post sometimes in the raid room or the sector rooms that I'm in, if I'm in your sector, hey, this guy's coming and this is what he needs to accomplish. Please afford him the same courtesy that you would me. I shouldn't have to do that. The level lock was awesome. Now, here's with the one exception, I agree with Shadow. I think it should go back to the 4 up and 4 down, or at least increase the level lock to, I don't know, somewhere between, I'd say 35 and 38. And you guys are going to say, well, why that level? I don't know, because there's still some people that are kick-ass at 38 because they are going to get there, but they're experienced, or they used to play the game, they've come back. So they're still pretty kick-ass good players. But seriously, recently, the most amount of people that have been playing that are up to 35, there's no way you could barely compete with a 42, much less a 43, 44, and 45. Okay, and I'm not even a solid 44. Okay, and I could still kick your ass. So, and I'm not even that educated, but I'll still kick your ass. If you're anything under a 38, I'm going to kick your ass. So, and it's just because I can and because that's how unbalanced the game is. What I don't like about the non-level lock, and this is what we had before, where we had when I first came back to Work Commander with Jano and some of the other guys, is can I be unshackled?
Go for it.
Okay, is the
That's brand new.
motherfuckers that were level 30 that ran their god-blessed mouse and they were completely dicks in the sector. All you wanted to do was have a slap a bitch card. So if they're going to go back to a level lock, please give us a spec op called slap a bitch card so that you could use it for one time only, or maybe for 24 hours or something like that. But I'd say one time only. That don't make them super rare, but make them kind of rare, or make me work my ass off for it, because if they do come back to the level lock, and I hope that they will, I would rather have the 4 up, 4 down than to cut it off at a certain point, because you know as well as I do, they're going to put the one asshat in the sector that's constantly going to run his mouth. He's going to sit in a bubble and nobody's going to be able to hit him, or he won't even need a bubble and he'll be able to go about his business. So yeah, I want a bitch slap card. As far as the Alliance Wars and the Alliance benefits and all that other kind of stuff, they totally dropped the ball. So for me, a D is generous. They totally dropped the ball. I've been in the other games. I know how the benefits of alliances. I was so excited for everybody, knowing what I know about the other games in Kickside that a lot of you didn't know. Dr. Phil can relate to this. I was so excited about something, especially a fucking alliance chat, okay? Even War Commander Rogue Assault has a fucking alliance chat. Sorry, I have to be unshackled. Effective communication should not have to be because you have to flip over to a damn chat box in Facebook. You should be able to go. And what about the people who have been hacked in Facebook, not because of games, but because of other things, or they can no longer use their Facebook page for gaming, and they can only use KXL. You have this huge population that would rather use KXL because it is more secure and is less likely to be hacked, that can't even communicate with their alliance, because where does everybody communicate? In the fucking Facebook chat. So sorry, I'm being unshackled on this one. Get us a fucking alliance chat. If you want to do something and you want me to get that triple D almost into an F, skip the E, I'll go to an F. If you want to do that, get us that alliance chat so we can have the open communication. And the other thing I don't like, and you can't tell me that hasn't happened, because I know that it has, is the raid bonuses have decreased. It has affected your resources, And the reason why I do like that aspect of the game is just like what Capone said, is for the people who can't log in and bang out a couple 80 Thors, they can't bang out a couple 60s for resources. They're in a bubble because they're level 32 and some dickhead across the sector keeps hitting them or keeps jumping in and jumping out and bubbling them and take everything they have. They can't get anything. They can't go get medals because, hello, you got to pop your fucking bubble in order to go get medals for something. You see my point, Kixeye?
Yeah.
There's got to be more of a connection. And if you're going to introduce benefits to the game for alliances, keep them. They need that. You may say to yourself, well, Jesus, that means that I'm just going to name names because I can. And Shadow, you're here. That means Shadow is going to get X amount of percentage of Thor. And Lester's going to get X amount of percentage of Thor. And Scooby's going to... So the fucking what? If they don't have it, they'll go hit something else. But guess what? There's 100 other people in the Alliance. They're not Shadow. They're not Scooby. They're not Lester. They're not me. They're not Dr. Phil. They're not Dava. They're not Lonnie. That alliance bonus is for everyone in the alliance. So stop worrying about the top echelon that have got their Thor max and got their resources stacked. And remember that that entire alliance bonus applies to everyone. It doesn't make people lazy. Guess what it lets them do, Kixeye? They can go to work, earn a living, come home, spend a little bit of time with their family, then come and play the game instead of the game being a job. That was the whole point of being an alliance and having alliance bonuses. Is that you could get those extra resources and you could give those players that needed a leg up, they're always sitting in a bubble, can barely PvP because they're getting hammered by somebody who's 15 levels higher than them. It gave them something. So you need to get back to that. Yes, don't take the system away. Oh my God, that's not what I'm asking you to do. But if you could adjust those two things, get back on track with the alliances, and then definitely look into some kind of a level up. 4 up and 4 down. I'm like Shadow. I know the rest of you don't agree with me on that one. I would love to see us go back to the 4 up and 4 down again. I think that would revolutionize PvP all over again. The little 30 guys and the 32s and the 33s, they can't even practice their PvP skills. And this is just a conversation I had with like 2 or 3 other guys the other day. They have a small little alliance. They can't even practice their PvP skills because they have to pop the damn bubble in order to practice their PvP skills. They can't practice it because they have some dickhead from another sector that as soon as they realize they're not in a bubble, because he's got an alt sitting there looking to see whether or not the person's in a bubble or not, and they come and they get flattened. There isn't any way for the player to learn about his base, about his units, about PvP, and how to play PvP if he can't do it because he's being bullied by some dickhead someplace else. That's just my thought on that. So yeah, I am with Shadow. I've always loved the 4 up, 4 down. I wish we could go back to it. Even if Kixeye would do it for just a trial basis. And then we could come back to that and decide whether or not to do the 4 up, 4 down. Although I do know it would require an enormous amount of code to go back to that. So that's...
Here's the dirty little secret with Kixeye and the PvP gates. They've done this several times already, practicing in Battle Pirates with the 40 and then the 50 and all the usual bullshit they did there. They've done this in War Commander, and the only place a non-gated PvP system has worked is Vega Conflict. Because it's your PvP skill is not designated by your base level.
Exactly.
It's designed by the power level of your fleet.
Yes, which is kick-ass.
And the fleet and the tech that you use. If that system, in any way, shape, or form, I mean, Kixeye San Francisco must have conversations with Kixeye Australia at this point and really sit down and hammer this shit out and get this fixed once and for all. it's probably not going to happen as much as we'd all love it to because of the Age of War Commander and the complicated processes of going through Flash.
And if they have to do, just real quick, if that's the case, cool. Just put that in writing somewhere. Man up and say, we'd love to be able to do what we did in Vega. We'd love to be able to do what we're currently doing in War Commander Rogue Assault. I know that's mobile, but I'm saying the concept. Then just put that out there and say, we can't do it because this game is so old and so complex. It would take years for us to implement that. Just man up and say that.
Of one guy that has ever turned around and said that publicly, and he was fired for the privilege, and that was Lex.
Yep.
And honestly, I don't blame anybody for not coming out and saying that publicly, but at least when you say something about it, lean towards that fact. You don't have to say it publicly, but make sure when you make statements and you make comments, lean towards the fact that you don't think it can be done. Be honest.
Just be honest. It's just not feasible at the moment. I can read between the lines on that one.
It's not feasible at this time is more than enough to say to me that it's not going to get done.
Right.
Because when I think something isn't going to get done, the first thing I say is it's not feasible at this time. It may be feasible in the future when there's better access to technology to do it, but until that day comes, at least say it's not feasible at this time. Everybody with an ounce of intelligence will know. Hell, even Shadow could figure that out.
Hey.
Although Shadow will dig it up 8 months later and say, I think you said, when here's the post, and he will have it because he has a memory about all that stuff. Wrong Thinker said 8 months and 7 days and 15 hours ago that it wasn't feasible at this time. It's been 8 months, motherfucker. When is it going to be feasible? Come on,
fucking feasible now.
That was a joke. I'm saying because it's funny. I hope everybody took that as a joke.
If they don't, they can suck it.
Exactly.
Agreed.
My left one, and that costs extra.
That's $3.50.
Well, yeah, because that's the one that turns me on the most. Sorry.
We're sitting here and there's 60 people watching, and we're watching.
Fuck me.
Yeah, I know. Really, 60 people on a Friday. Friday afternoon, Friday night where you're at, and we're sitting there. We're giving these guys these grades, and
they had the link to the show, by the way.
Yeah, I know they're watching. I know he's watching because he's damn curious.
Got the link to the show. It was an unscheduled, unpromptu show. I mean, they had the link to the show, which is great.
I know. I posted it in the forum.
Yep. I mean, but we sit there and we're looking at these grades and we're looking at all this, and it feels like all he did was pat himself on the back on shit that we technically didn't need to make the game any better. The game was already okay.
Yeah, but what gave him the right to
pat himself on the? He had to grade himself. That's it. To pat himself on the back. To be honest, all he is a designer. He doesn't play the game like we do.
Dev.
Or whatever. Okay. At the end of the day, he is not us.
Nope.
Okay, and him grading himself. I'm sorry, but that's an ego boost. It's not a true grade. It's not a true grade in my mind.
Grade, but he has been rather conservative with the grades that he's. Some of them are a little higher than they should be, but he has been rather conservative with the overall grade.
I'll be honest.
He has said a few things in his closing thoughts, which I'll go through quickly before you go on.
I mean, I see this and I think to myself, dude, you didn't do Invasion. You didn't struggle with all those stupid fucking pop-ups. You're not doing Onslaught. You're not struggling with Wave 38 that has the unbeatable fucking Hades or Apollos. I mean, you're not doing the event. You're not having to grind a 5 million plus XP for shit that we really don't need to have. He's not having to run 2 different fucking onslaughts. I mean, I see all this and it baffles me that he gives himself a grade.
It baffles you, but there's more understanding to it.
I just don't. Maybe I'm just a biased dickhead that just feels absolutely no fucking sympathy for him.
You're
All right,
you're as cynical as I am, to be perfectly
I
honest.
mean, I don't. I feel absolutely no fucking pity at all about his failures. I'm not happy about his successes because at the end of the day, he ignored us on a lot of the successes. The level lock, the bottleneck of the tech center, the performance issues. I'm sorry, we are still having performance issues. They're not fixed. All right, maybe it's not an F, but it's damn well not no fucking B. I mean, Alliance. I mean, I'm sorry, but if you look back at the last update notes that we got, or not the last one, because goddamn, those were 3 pages long, but the ones before it, the ones that we laughed at, because there was no performance upgrades at all. There was art fixes. That's all we got was fixes for art or little itty bitty things. Nothing out there.
Substantial.
No, not to give himself a fucking B. And if he did, then he should go ahead and tell us this is what exactly the fuck he did.
I mean, it's getting it out there to the community. And his closing thoughts simply is they're all over the map. Some stuff they nailed, some stuff they failed. And he said, "How do you think we did? Is it a fair appraisal, or would you have given us different grades? Do some of the things matter to you more than others? Let us know in the comments. Either way, we take our successes with pride and our failures to heart. Stay tuned for the technical breakdown in the future. These posts will be coming very soon. And the overall grade, he's given himself a C+.
I give him a D. I give him a D minus overall. I'm sorry. The only positive thing out of all of this is
the overall median grade from everybody on this panel. And yes, I am nerdy enough to calculate that, all of that, and I have done during the show. And the overall median grade from everybody on this panel and Unshackled is a D+.
Yeah, it's a D because he is. I mean, I'm sorry. The only good thing are the faction units. That's the biggest plus out of everything he said. The only true positive out of all of it is the faction units, and even with those, they fucked up on because of the tech that goes with them. Yeah,
you've got the
tech you don't
bottleneck.
Yes.
You had the tech center bottleneck, the unit bottleneck, the workshop bottleneck, the building upgrade bottlenecks. You have the object of doing one of 2 things in a game like this. You are either an offensive player or you are a defensive player.
Yeah, there's no in between.
There is no in between, and even if you try, you will ultimately fail on both ends because you cannot play an RTS game this way.
And
you either do defensive or you do offensive, and if you do one, the other will always suffer. I have always been an offensive player. I work offensively, but the bottleneck in the tech center is why it ultimately made me exit the game permanently. I'm giving my thoughts impartially because I don't support Kixeye as a company anymore. And I cannot fathom any reason why anybody would continue to do so. And the fact of the matter is, it's continuing regardless of the amount of players that are exiting the game and the amount of problems that are going on with glitches and bugs and roaches. It even comes to the point where I read Soloco's post on the Herald. Now, those posts are fortunate, but they're also a kick in the face.
By the way, they're false because the Herald is still out there. People are still using.
Is still out there.
Yep, they're still using Max Herald. See, that's a fuck up right there. Because the Herald was supposed to be removed from the game. It hasn't been. I know people who've got it.
I know people who have it also, but there's also an additional to that. If you
Screen
do
share that
see
post.
it, there are two sides to the Herald problem. And I'm going to blow this open immediately, whether or not they like it. Because Kixeye can, to be quite frank, they can suck my hairy left testicle. There are two side issues with the Herald. If that player is legitimate and accidentally got that part or used that way to get that part and coined that Herald to its maximum stats and built it and used it, no longer have it, but they will keep all their upgrades. Now, on the other hand, those people who use that same bug and then cheated all of their levels and cheated that build still have it. So if somebody hits you with a Herald or you see a Herald, you go report that motherfucker, because that motherfucker is a cheating bastard and deserves to be fucking nuked for the privilege. And that's the end of that chapter.
Good. I mean, he gives us. Matter of fact, I'm go ahead. I'm going to mute myself. Let everybody what everybody else thinks.
I just throw my couple cents in because I know everybody expects me to kiss their ass on this one, but I would definitely. I think the C+ is way too generous. I would see more closer to a D. I won't say D minus because I know there have been some things in place. They have implemented some things that we have asked for. There are things coming that you guys don't know about that I just happen to know about that is just going to make your day, but it doesn't make up for the fact that things that still need to be fixed and need to be worked on. I don't mind that he's grading himself because I think he should as a developer, and I think if he's going to be the name in the face of War Commander, I think that we have to remember that if Wrongthinker is the person that's going to be out there publicly like that, and he is open with us and honest, and he's not making posts and closing them, he wants to hear our feedback. I'd also like to reiterate, if you're going to give feedback on that thread, I have been reading through some of the feedback. I am myself going through the ones that are constructive, and they list specific reasons and why. Whether or not you're fired up or not, whether or not you use the word cock block or not, which I actually thought that was so cool, one of the players did say in one of his posts. I think that this grade is not just on Wrongthinker. It's because he's going to become the name in the face for War Commander. So I think this is a grade like on the entire team, a reflection on the entire team. We have been instrumental on a lot of changes in the game that weren't even addressed in the state of the game. And I'm okay with that because we don't need the pat on the back to say, hey, thank you for telling us about this. And look, this is what we did and we implemented it. So I'm not looking for that either. I just would like to see, and communication wasn't even addressed in the state of the game. So I think there needs to be better communication, more communication, advanced communication, and live communication. So with all the technology that's out there, with all the technical difficulties they had at the first one or the second one, throw yourself into a Twitch, throw yourself on a Facebook live stream. Hell, I'll set up a YouTube channel for you. I'll open it and leave it, and you guys could do whatever you want to do. Right before an event, run a live show and give some information. Even if it's funny, even if it's sarcastic, do something. Give us something to go on so that people don't have to take 2 or 3 days to figure out something in an event. It's just not fair. And you can say, oh, well, there's 7 days. Not everybody has 7 days to play an event. Not everybody has 5 days to play an event. So throw something out there. Be part of the community. So again, going back to the grade, in my personal perspective, I'm not saying from a moderator, I'm saying my personal perspective as a player, I would say maybe a solid D, and I'm almost close to a D minus, but a solid D. My thoughts as what we do here with Unshackled, and as a moderator, I'm not going to change the grade, but I think that everybody needs to keep in mind that this isn't just about Wrongthinker and what he thinks. I really honestly think this is supposed to be a communication to us from Wrong Thinker, but it represents the entire game team. I could be totally wrong on that, but that is my interpretation. So it's not him grading himself, it's him grading the entire team, and he is being the voice for the entire team. So please, in that vein, if you don't think, don't necessarily point the finger at Wrong Finger, but if you don't think and or agree with what we just went through, please do get on that thread and be constructive about it. It's okay if you have a 1 or 2 answer thing, but be constructive. If you think he gave himself a B and you think it's an F, say why. But in a constructive way. Even if you're pissed off, you could be pissed off and not violate the forum rules. So be constructive about it. Say why you don't like it. Say what you'd like to see different. Sometimes
It does suck, guys. I'll go ahead and tell you, it does suck not being able to post.
I was going to say, with the and I would love to be able to say that I wish Shadow could get on there and that he could get on there and post because he has some great ideas, and that's why we've got
the second he got on there, he'd get himself fucking banned again. We both
I know he'd be banned. He'd be banned just for showing up, so he wouldn't have to do anything. All
Because
he'd
it
have to
does. I'll be honest, guys. Don't you know? It's all funny and all, and it is very humorous.
It is humorous.
Okay, but it also truly
It
sucks not being able to say what I want and have other people do it for me. I feel like, that's just, I don't like doing it. I can't stand asking people to do it for me, but it does seriously suck. So don't get yourself banned saying your piece. Don't. It's really not worth it.
They are listening and they want to know. And there's going to be, if you guys, we're paying attention, there are going to be more parts to this state of the game. So these exact answers that you give right here, right now, will help to determine the next part and the next part after that. Because hopefully when we get to the final part, there'll be some summaries and he'll say, I hear you. And this is what I'm getting, and there'll be some summaries in there, and they'll be able to really look at the full player feedback. And if you can't do it today, do it later. Put the state of the game post up in your Alliance chat room. Put it on your Facebook group page, and then ask people, to make a post. Or if you make a post and you feel that it's constructive and it was bulleted, point by point, go ahead and post your post. Doberman did that. Okay, I'm not going to speak specifically, but he did 1 through 5, and then he had a follow-up. Same thing. Micah Stevens did the same thing. He's the guy that used the word cockblock. I thought that was funny. Resources are a cockblock for everything, okay? So I'm just saying, he's frustrated about that. Cockblock is totally fine with me. It doesn't violate forum rules, but he's right. You see what I'm saying? So he had something legitimate to say, but it was constructive, and he was right, and he said why. MX36, there are people who came in here. Yes, it takes a little bit of time. Yes, it's a lot of information. There are just a few people that will put paragraphs in, but it was the paragraph that they were passionate about. That's perfect, too. This is the kind of information. This is what makes a community. And that's what KIXI needs. This is how we improve communication with KIXI and how we enact change. And anybody who says otherwise about what we do on this show and this group of people that I've been rolling with for so many years, anybody who ever tells me I'm like Shadow Killer in forums and dragging stuff up when they said it in the past, I'm like that about changes. When we asked for shit and we got it, we may not have got it like we wanted it. I have a list, a huge list. I dare anybody to come to me and tell me nothing that the players ever said is ever implemented, because that's total bullshit. And I dare anybody here on the panel to tell me that I'm wrong.
Where's my goddamn Alliance chat?
I dare.
I'm not saying we get everything we want, but don't turn around and tell me that KIXI never listens to the players, because they do. And this show is so successful, and I have to kudos to everybody on YouTube.
We have, boy.
So successful. Implement so much.
This motherfucker is blowing up, hasn't it?
Really, we take all that to heart.
I mean,
and then we send that off to the team. And if it doesn't come off to the team, trust me, perfect examples, what happened with the Bonesaw XP. Oh my God, I didn't even look at all the PMs. My phone, my iPad, and my computer exploded in a matter of less than 2 minutes. I didn't even read it all. I went right into the Skype room and said, what the hell happened to X, Y, and Z? And I won't use the exact language. I would normally not address anybody in the War Commander room that way. But I knew there was something massively wrong all of a sudden. If you guys hadn't exploded, then they wouldn't have known, and we wouldn't have got it done, because that happened at the end of the day.
But
So
we're
we would
running.
have had to wait to the next day. So as a community, feel free to go crazy once in a while, but just don't be a dick about it. I'll say in Dr. Phil's words, don't be a dick about it.
Don't be a
That's all.
dick about
Follow
it.
the forum rules.
I mean, follow the forum rules. If you kind of get the gray area once in a while, I think Cockblock was pretty cool. I thought that was funny. I don't see that as, violating the forum rules. Somebody else might be offended by that. I don't know.
And if that particular person who knows who he is offended by that, hey buddy, eat a
Right,
dick.
but the thing is where he used in the context of what it was truth. It showed his frustration, and then he backed up the rest of the sentence with the reason why he called it a cockblock, and it was 100% true. He is 100% true.
The only
There's
the
absolutely
only
no
people
doubt
who
about
got
what he
offended are the people who got blocked.
And that is the order of things. Since I only have a few minutes available, I'm going to ask everybody to. We'll start with Dobber and give me closing thoughts, wrap up, and give you shout outs. And you have 60 seconds to do that, or I'm going to mute you and move on to the next person because I am extremely limited for time. And we
I'm
need to
done
close out.
now. I'm done, so
Dava,
skip me. I just love everybody. Go ahead, Dava.
you still get your shout out, Skippy, don't worry. Dava?
Shout out or final thoughts? Or
both with a quickness.
All right, final thoughts. It's within the past 6 months, Kixeye has been doing a lot greater. Seems like we're getting a lot more communication, and yeah, looks like game's going in a good way. Shout out to Wrong Thinker for being willing to put a bullseye on you and taking constructive listening to all this feedback, and whoever else watches this from Kixeye. And I want to shout out to 49 and Raid, and there we go. It's about 20 seconds.
Okay. James, have you got any shout outs? He wants to shout out to everyone in 49 and keep all the other alliances out. All right. And 933B Bomb, go stop being a dick. All right. That's good enough for me. Skippy, have you got any shout outs, Alan?
Whoops. Yes, I do. Shout out to everybody for showing up today, especially in the community. Shout out for you, Dr. Phil, and of course the panel, but Phil for putting the show together. Thank you so much, because I do think it needed to be done, but I didn't know you guys had this going on. I will shout out to Kixeye, and specifically my favorite dev ever, Wrong Thinker, for putting this together, being open and honest, maybe giving yourself a little bit of a higher grade than you should be, or the team than you should be, but being willing to admit some mistakes and some issues. And I look forward to more communication like that. I look forward to more advanced communication, some live stuff, and shout out to everyone who has so far. I'm already reading some more of the stuff at the same time. For those of you who have already commented on this post, it's absolutely and utterly fantastic. This is wonderful. This is what being part of a gaming community is all about. We don't have to all agree on the same thing. We don't all have to, like everything that Kixeye does. We all have different styles, but I love how the community is coming together. So shout out to everybody for that, and super special shout out to everyone personally who has sent comments to both Jim and I regarding things that are going on in our personal lives. It really does mean a lot to know that we're not just game acquaintances, that we're actually people that, you consider a friend. So thank you so much for that, and I love you, Dr. Phil.
I love you too, honey. TJ, I'll do you first before Shadow jumps in. I know he has got a whole bunch of shit to say, so TJ, you give yours out first.
I think about the level lock. I think we're all clear about that. I hope he's listening and maybe he'll take notes. But I'd like to give a shout out to Godscope, who just got terrible bad news. I hope he's doing well.
Excellent. Shadow, you know what to do.
All right. Well, before I do my shout outs and I do my little wrap up, I don't know if we're doing a rave. Daba's going to post a link to see if you guys
It's already
want to do one. Okay, there's a link up. So in about 3 hours or so, I'll add it up and we will see if that's what everybody wants to do with Shadow Ops in Onslaught being the end of the event. I don't see it really happening. So if we do, I promise I will let everybody know. I will give everybody more than advanced time for it. Now, as for everything else, I gotta give. Okay, all right, fine, fuck it. I will give Wrong Thinker props for going out and putting that up there and putting himself out there for us. But Skip, I have to disagree. I think it was an ego boost. I don't think it was about the whole group. I think he was just trying to shut us the fuck up.
It's okay. We can agree to disagree, darling. Go ahead.
I think he just put that shit up there because he was, tired of everybody just talking shit about no communication. That's my thing because it don't pan out. It don't pan out. You're right. He didn't even bring in communication on this thread. We hear nothing about anything about that shit. We don't know what's going on with the bottleneck of the fucking tech center. It's shit that we need to know about that is severely fucking lacking. And I'm tired of waiting. So we'll see. How about that? We will see if anything comes to light. I want to thank all you guys for coming out, especially you, Doc, for throwing the show together. Kick ass. All you guys out in fucking YouTube, y'all rock. I mean, damn. You guys make War Commander Unshackled what it is right now. And we are a badass fucking show.
We do what we do.
Hell yeah. And all these viewers and all these guys out here watching right now, y'all kick fucking ass.
50 right now.
Fucking love y'all. I'm out, man. Thanks a lot, Doc.
Okay, my final thoughts for this evening is, first of all, to Wrong Thinker. He is one of the few devs that put himself out there and paints that target smack bang in the middle of his forehead. And you have my props, and you are a poor, unfortunate bastard for actually putting yourself out there as a target for the community. I want to repeat Dobber's PSA that he stated earlier. If you see a raid tag, there are a bunch of fake ones around at the moment, talking shit and doing a lot of shit that raid do not do, then I would suggest that you contact Dobber Phoenix or any other the raid admins.
Mothin or myself.
Mothin
the two ones that come on Unshackled.
Oh,
so
real quick.
I suggest you contact those two. Go for it.
Real quick. I got to give props to a certain raid member, Capone. He kicks fucking ass. I don't know if you watched last night's Onslaught show, Doc, but let me tell you something. That one. Oh man, he's a level 38 that kicked fucking ass. Raid really got a good member with him, and I cannot wait to watch him progress.
Excellent.
Did he beat it?
No, I don't. I think he only got up to 20 something, but it's still for what he has in his base and what he did.
Oh, okay,
He took direction well. He didn't complain. He tried everything that we gave him suggestion for. It was really refreshing to see a new player try his damnedest, and you guys did a good job with him. Y'all picked a really good player for raid, and like I said, I can't wait to watch him progress.
Excellent stuff. I want to throw out a shout out to Godscope and all of the shit that's happened. I have been following the chat. I just haven't been responsive as I usually would. I I'm sorry to hear the bad news, brother, and it's going to take some time. And that's all I can really say. It never gets easier. I know that for a fact. But over time, it'll hurt less. And the only thing I can say to you is to hold on to that pain and let it burn and to make it your own. Because that's the only way I've survived the last fucking 10 years. Other than that, I want to shout out to all of the guys in the YouTube, all of the guys and girls on the panel tonight.
That's a really good one.
And yeah, specifically, again to thank Wrong Thinker for his posts. Apologies to Red Steel. If you'd have got in about half an hour earlier, I'd have let you into the fucking show. But you got in too goddamn late, and that's your own goddamn fault. As always, this has been War Commander Unshackled, and if you don't like it, go fuck yourself. Good night, everybody.